Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to do another, excuse me, I always start talking and then I need water. I'm going to do another entry in my little journal. This is one that I've created here on the channel. If you're new, thanks for stopping by and watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of my subscribers. Truly, truly. You guys leave the best comments and encouragement, and I really appreciate it. So this journal is a essentially junk journal that I use for junk collaging, junk journal, usually for collage or art journaling. And I've done just a couple of pages in here already, but I have shown a video before on how I created these art starts using collaged magazine images or colors that I've taken from magazines. And I found this page in here that went really well with this collage, and I wanted to work on that page with you guys today. And kind of show you just how I work on like background pages, essentially. Let me get a piece of, this is just cereal paper, guys, or a cereal bag. I use it for non-stick stuff so I don't get stuff all over my desk or all over my papers. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I am debating how I want to do this. Okay, I have, sorry, I'm reaching on to the left of me. I have a bunch of like old pages, book pages, or plain paper that I can use to like doodle on or whatever, and then I can turn around and use it in my collage, or I can use it to protect my papers. So because this page is a little bit shorter than this page, I wanted to put this under here to kind of protect it a little bit. And then I'm going to clip it so it'll stay down flat. And then this page is, when I did this page, I left this long. And I think I'm going to glue it up. So let me do that. Oh, excuse me. Why I like these colors together is I really felt like this pink went really well with the page, and then you can bring in that darker tone of pink, and then this has the pattern of the mauve and the pink and the green and the tan or that yellow, and then here's some blue. So these are the colors that I'm going to work with, and then this is from like a cookie magazine, but I liked the gray, it adds some texture. So we're going to put that under here just so I know exactly what my page is. And where's my other clip? I need my other clip. Okay, this helps it to just stay down because this is a chunky monkey book already. Okay, so what I start doing is I start adding my collage on here, and I just play around with the patterns and the textures and the colors. So I kind of don't mind this blue or the green because it's in here from this. So maybe what I'll do, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see more. Okay, let me put some of this color or this pattern on here. I'm just gonna glue it with my, you can use Mod Podge, you can use glue stick. If you use liquid glue, just be careful, it might like wrinkle your pages up. This was a page that I included in the signature that had a little cutout here, and I kind of like that, so We're gonna bring some of this pink or peach color over to this side, but let's include some of the mauve. Again, I don't have to use the full pieces. I can tear them into smaller pieces either way. But let me put this on here. I should be gluing on my wax paper so I don't get glue all over my desk. Let's see. I kind of want a more organic feel. By organic, I mean torn paper, not necessarily a straight edge. When I'm art journaling, I don't want to have such straight edges, but if I'm like memory keeping or journaling, I guess you could say, then I would want more of a straight edge. That's just how I am. Okay, so we're gonna put this piece right here. And I try not to overthink it. I find when I overthink it and overanalyze, it's not as creatively fun, or for me, it's not as intuitive, and it's not very me. So this grade also has that blue color. Ooh, I like it right there. Because I also like the lines kind of mimic these lines here. And then this line here. But then also it looks like the way the paper is torn is it kind of looks like somebody ate out of it. That's not something I could have planned. Well, that's a lie. I could have planned that. I could have torn it in such a way. But this is just what I like to call a happy accident. So we're going to go with it. Okay, so the parts that I like about the page. And again, I try to mirror the same thing on both sides. So that way it looks cohesive, if that makes sense. And this has more of a blue color than this one. But that can be fixed. Let's take this blue. There we go. That can kind of be fixed by doing that. Take this blue piece. If I get really quiet, it's just because I'm thinking and working. Okay. And then let's do this. Okay. Now, I guess the point in the video of this today is to show you how I work in stages. So I may not finish this page today, but I will show you when I do finish it, or how I finish it. Now I really like this piece, and I kind of want it in the middle to like join the pages together. So how do I want it? I kind of like how, let me glue this in and I'll show you why I like it the way I like it. I'll explain it. It'll help you see what I'm seeing. Okay, so I put it this way because there's the same color here on this pattern, and it looks like they connect right in here. so it feels more like a cohesive image than two random pieces. So the question is, I have this really little piece of grid right here. I'm just gonna pop it in right up here. Ooh, that worked out well too, because look, there's a line here. So it works out really well. Okay. And my clips have fallen off and they're not working. That's okay. We'll deal. And then I want to bring this in here. But, or do I want it up here? Nope, we're going to rip this in half because I like the text on this. And I want it down here by this text. Okay. Do 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 do. Do, do. Okay, and I want this over here, but I'm trying to figure out how. I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna make it a square-ish. Square-ish. My technical terms, you guys. These are such technical terms I have over here. All right, so that is using most of the pieces except for this color, which is here and kind of here. So there's the collage. So the next thing I will do is I am going to put clear gesso over all of this because I'm liking the background. And I have some clear gesso left over from something else. So we're gonna plop that on here. I'm gonna spread it out so I can get a good, even, thin layer on the whole page. On both pages. Let's see, did I get any up here? No, I didn't get more clear gesso, guys. Oh, I left it out. Oh, okay. I'm just using a clear Art Basics Fennebear Art Basics white clear gesso from Michael's. Probably not very expensive. But I want to get some, make sure I get all my page gessoed so that when I add color or medium on top of this, that it protects the page underneath. Okay, and if you want more like of a texture or whatnot, then you could just layer your gesso up thick and it will dry that way, even though it's clear. But I'm okay with this being pretty thin because I think I can add texture using color and pattern. So there it is on the page. You can see where I've added it, but let me dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that that is dry, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna blend these colors out. And there's a couple ways you can do this. You can use just white and make it white. You'll have your white in between the pages or in between each section of paper that you put on here. Or you can use color itself. So for example, if I wanted to bring more of, say, this green color in, okay? Because I have green some down here, some up here. I have this blue here, here, and here. I obviously have the pink and the white here. What I could do is, and I'm talking this out to myself as well. let me do both. So I'm gonna bring in some green. I'm just using my Distress crayons for this. For now, this is Forest Moss. And I'm just kind of gonna draw some of that color from one of the other images. Obviously I've altered it a little bit, but I'm just gonna draw it out. So like there's some green here. Let me zoom back in so you guys can see this. I'm gonna add in the color there. Say I'm gonna bring in some down here. And you can do this circular, you can do it. Let me push this up a little bit so you can see this better. You can do it in lines, however. And then using your water brush with your water soluble media allows you to move the color around. So all of that dark color that I put on here, I'm just moving it around to bring in that color into the other spaces of the page. So you could see I brought in some more green here and here. Then it's ideal to probably dry it in between each phase of color. I don't tend to work that way. Sometimes I do. Not always. I'm pretty lazy and want to be done quickly. So the other thing I'll do is, let me get some white gesso. Here's my white gesso that I put in a like sauce salad dressing container. And I'm gonna use a paintbrush for this. Sometimes if it's a bigger surface I'm working on, I'll use my hands or like use my fingers, but this is a smaller area. So I'm just gonna pull out a little brush that I have. Doesn't really matter which kind you use, but I wanna be super strategic in where I'm placing the white color. And you could do this with white paint. I just use gesso because it's usually right here on my desk. And it's easier for me to find or get to. And I like the fact that it's gesso because then I can add in color on top of it if I want to, because it's already kind of protected. So like this is very rough. And then with paper or gesso or paint, if you you can do this with paint too, by the way. I just don't want to pull out my paint. If it's too much, you can wipe up some of the color. Okay. Because remember, I put that clear gesso down, so it already protected some of that. I just pulled a baby wipe out. And I'm using the baby wipe. I should have put something underneath this page because now I'm going to get paint all over my desk, but c'est la vie. All right, so I'm just going in where I see white and kind of, now the heavier you load your paintbrush with paint or gesso, the more paint you're going to have on here. So if you want it very faint, kind of try to keep your brush a little bit drier and not so much paint. You can do that by wiping off the image or the paintbrush onto something else, or wiping it on your towel. I'm kind of blending it in. If I wanted harsh images, then I would be mindful of that. Let's put a little bit I do like a little bit of it here and there, so I'm going to put some there. I'm going to put some white up in here. Maybe we'll put some white right here. And if you put white over another color, it's just going to like tone the color down. So okay. Because this burnt orange color doesn't really go. This color in this image doesn't really go with the paper or with the image, with my color scheme. Good Lord. Talking and doing art at the same time is not easy for me, apparently. And then let's put some right here, because why not? And then, I don't know if you guys can hear the heater kicking on every once in a while, so apologize if that's live. Let me put some more down here. All right. So let me dry this real quick and I'll be back. Okay, so now that I did that, I want to bring back in some of this like light tan orange color. So I'm going to use this tea dye color. Hopefully this is similar. And I'm going to blend it in. Try to put it strategically around my page. This might be the wrong color, but we're going to see what happens. Oh, this looks like mud. Okay. Well, not too mad. It was not the color I was looking for. So, whoopsies. We're gonna wipe it off. See? Obviously the white gesso that I put on here is not gonna come off because I've already dried it. But I can just wipe off that color. Okay? So, that's the nice thing about having the baby wipes around. All right, so this might be a, is this like a brush corduroy look? Nope. Huh. Let me see if my gelatos are what I need. Gelatos are also water soluble, so you can use those. Let's get this, like an orange, but it's a lighter orange. What does this look like? Let's see. Nope, that's not the color. Okay. So maybe it's more of a pink. Might be a little bit of pink and orange. So we're gonna go and blend out. This is a guava. So I'm just kind of blending it a little bit. I'm putting that color on the page and then moving my finger to move it, using my finger to move it. The other thing you could do is you could use your wipe to move it around because it's water soluble. So in this sometimes is the instance where I can't get the color exactly right with the materials I have, so I improvise and use another color. So, but you could see it starts to blend the little pieces of paper out and they turn into one big art piece, if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm showing you. And then I swear I had a mauve color in my gelatos. I have them sorted by cool colors or warm colors so I can tell what I have. All right, so I could have sworn I had. Well, I know there's probably a color in here. That's tea dye. Move that back over there. All right, maybe I don't have the mauve color. I could make the mauve color with paint, but I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do instead is, the other things I like about this page are, I like the grid lines here and here. I like the circle and I like the squiggles. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my distress crayon in, I need like a good pink color, but I'm not going to get a good pink color. What is this one? Abandoned coral. This might be close. This is kind of close. Okay. So I'm going to put some of that color in this squiggle. And then I'm going to add some of my own around the page. Does that make sense? And I'll take my water brush and smooth out some of the edges. I can make them connect. Okay. And as I'm looking at this page, this is too bright, so let me take some of it off. You guys are seeing this all in real time, you know? Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot I could use my pencils. Well, I created like a reddish tone over all of it, which I don't hate. I think I kind of like that. So what I'm going to do instead of this is I'm going to do the lines in the circle. So what you're going to want to do is take your, if you want it to blend out, you can. This is a China marker in black, and I'm going to use it to draw out my lines a little bit more. This is not going to these aren't water soluble, so this isn't going to go away when I do this, but do you see how down here now it blends this page into the next? So you're essentially creating layers so that your collage items blend into each other. Okay. So say I'm going to connect these two grids. I could do that with this China marker. Go up a little bit. Okay. And now it's blending a bunch of different images together. Say we wanted this image to go over this way a little bit. There we go. And then I could use my watercolor pencils to, oh wait, I wanted this to, and then I could do something like here like that. Mimic that shape. I could do it here and mimic that shape. Okay. There we go. So for now, we're going to call that good. So that's how I create my background images. I could go through and pull out, let's do that, some of the yellow in here, because you know I love me some yellow. Yellow is my favorite color. This is a watercolor pencil from Michael's. There's no color on it, but it's like an orangey yellow. I can just color. And that's why I love watercolor pencils, because when you're working small, you can get into the details very easily with your watercolor pencil. Okay, and it gives you a lot more control over how much color you're adding, where you're adding it. There is a place for watercolor palettes and liquid watercolors, but in collaging, for me, I want some more control over where the color ends up, if that makes any sense. Now there's some yellow here, probably from when I was putting color on and wiping it away, but I'm gonna just add my own color in here, and then it draws your eye around because there's a little bit in each area. So if I take my watercolor pencil, my watercolor brush, and just kind of activate that color by adding the water on top. If I don't want to move it around, I don't have to. I can just, you know, leave it in the one spot, or I could move it around. Okay. So I love using patterns from other images because the pattern work is already done for me. And now I get to just play with color and design, if that makes sense. All right, so that page is done. The background is done. What I could do is now, once this is dry, I could put another layer of clear gesso on top of it, and it's going to essentially seal in this image so that when I go to put my focal point on top, let me try to find a good focal point for you guys, that I can either blend in or blend out the focal point depending on what I want to do. So you saw this from beginning to end. Okay, so then if I wanted to come through and say I was going to make a page about her, and I'm just pulling her because the color kind of works with the blue and pink. And this might actually be what I do. If I put clear gesso over this, then what I could do is when I go to blend this all out, it will make sense. But to me, it's like, oh, it will make it all one cohesive image. That's the words I'm using. Sorry, guys. Sometimes I start talking and I don't finish my sentence. I apologize. Oh, that's a thing for me. My husband and my family are used to it, but most people aren't always used to it. But see, then it covers up this, and I really liked that. But that would be good there. Yes. So then if you, like in this image, if say I wanted to take her, you know what? Here, this is what we're gonna do. Guys, long video alert, okay? We're gonna take her out of the background. We're gonna put her on a new background because we just made a background for her. So I'm just cutting around her. I am fussy cutting kind of close, kind of exact, kind of not. By the way, the artist who painted this, I don't know. I don't have their name. I pulled it from a plain art magazine. But kudos to you, because I cannot draw faces to save my life. They end up demented looking. Okay. Oh, that's her foot. Okay. Okay. So then, if we put her here, ooh, I like that. Then, what I would do is, we're going to glue her on. All right, guys, I was going to show this in another video, but if you stayed this long, you get to see the finished product. So, bravo to you. Bravo to you. Because now you get to see the finished product. Okay, I'm going to cut this edge because this is a straight piece of paper. Okay. And then I could take my clear gesso that I have left and just put it over her to blend her into the background. Because again, when you're working with magazine images, some are shiny, some are matte. This kind of puts them all on an even playing field. Okay. So now that I just put a very simple layer, I just use my finger. I don't care. Then I can outline her like I've shown you guys before, or I could bring in some of her color, like in here, or like bring some of this color into her outfit, so that way she is more cohesive with the page. And then I could put a quote up here. I could just leave it plain if I like the way it looks, or, you know, finish it later. But wanted to show you all that. With artwork or collages, what I like about that is it gives me the opportunity to learn how to create images, how to play with color in a way that's not as drastic. I can paint. Nope, I'm an artist. I'm going to stop that. I can paint. However, collaging always feels easier for me because I can create a whole new image and a whole new background based on the images that I have. So, and I'm not good at drawing people. I could get better if I practiced more, but that's not what I'm doing right now. So, and then because you have negative space here, another option you could do is you could add a quote here if you wanted to. You could add anything there if you could journal there, however you wanted to. But to me, you know, she's sitting here pondering something. Maybe this is what her brain feels like on the inside. I don't know. It's art. It's open to interpretation. This China marker, I'll show you, is not water soluble. You see, like, it's not moving. So I love my China markers for that purpose of that color ain't going nowhere. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight and some inspiration on how to create your own collage art images with mixed media, art and collaging and things that you have around your house. But anyways, I hope you all have a great day and go do something creative. Bye.